Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh, and good Saturday morning to you. We are here today to talk about the midterms. They are now only 4 days away. It's pretty crazy. We're very close to everything going on here, and we have a great show for you today. Today we're talking back again with James Stanley, of course, our elections analyst, who you enjoyed very much when we had him on this past week. Actually, James, I'll have you know, James, most highly listened to episode of Red Alert yet. So that's only through 6. So give yourself credit. You did a great job the first time.
Thanks.
That's why we're having you back again for more. All right. So yeah, James, and apparently, according to what you told me in the intervening time between when we first did the episode and now, you still have some stuff that you actually want to talk about. So where would you like to start? So you're the guest. You can choose where you want to start. I think Nevada was the one.
In Nevada, that's probably the state. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's
probably for both the gubernatorial and Senate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you find interesting there.
Yeah. Both the races actually quite interesting this year. The gubernatorial election, we got the Attorney General Laxalt running, and on the Democrat side, they have Steve Sisolak, who is a businessman out in Nevada. That's probably actually going to be a very interesting race, in my opinion, to watch, because we could really see if the incumbent power of the incumbent governor, who endorsed Laxalt for governor, who is the Attorney General, if he can really help him in that race. Now, Nevada also is changing rather quickly, like Texas. They have more Democrats, it seems like, going out and voting now. Oh, and also they probably have more people moving to that state, as states like California are moving people actually out. They actually have a lot of people moving away from that state due to the high taxes, according to a lot of people. That race is going to be, I think, quite interesting to watch, because the incumbent actually won by a pretty big margin in his last election in 2014. I believe it was like 18 or 24%. It was a big margin. So polls are saying that it's pretty tied. Sisolak is like by the one in the most recent poll, but that was it was a poll that was funded by a Democrat, so I wouldn't really say that is accurate all the time, but because they typically will choose people who will align with them more, and they typically choose, according to that poll, at least they chose 54% of the people who were questions were Democrats. The other race that's in Nevada that I think is going to be quite interesting to watch is the Senate race. That race is with Jackie Rosen, who is the Nevada's 3rd congressional district congressional member. She was actually elected last year in 2016, and she's pretty good. She's pretty moderate on many issues. On immigration, she worked with the Republicans a lot. On economic issues, she worked with the Republicans a lot. So she's really trying to make herself look more like a moderate, so she could have maybe a better chance of getting more Republicans out to go and vote for her. What did you work on with the Republicans on immigration? Like, what were some of the specifics of the bills there? The immigration reform bill, I do remember that she was talking about how she wants to have like a bipartisan bill, and I think that she actually did vote for the immigration bill that they had brought up, like her second month in office in 2017, where they were trying to basically have, instead of building the wall, they were going to try, it was a more moderate plan that was not made by the House Republicans. It was more made by like the moderate House Republicans. They're not like the big, centrist. They're more centrist than the regular Republicans are. It was a bill that was made, I believe, by Representative Hurd. He's in Texas's 23rd district. He made a bill, I believe, that would basically increase more funding to hire more guards on the border, more like police officers that are going to be hired by the government, like, ICE and all the immigration and customs enforcement, more patrolling of the border to make sure that, like, we wouldn't actually have people, like, running across the border, which is, according to him, happening in his district. His district runs along the majority of Texas borderline with Mexico. So I don't know if he's lying, but I don't know if he's really telling the truth because there are three entryways though in his congressional district um, that have a lot of. They do have a pretty high security presence at all three of them, especially since this the caravan they were going to. I know last time they were going towards one of them that was in his district. I believe it was south of El Paso. Uh, and I don't know where they're actually going the caravan right now, but my guess is they're probably just going to go back to their that entrance point because they had a lot of lawyers there from Texas who were on the border trying to help them to get over.
Yeah, it's going to be very awkward for them, just like Republicans and Democrats in general, about how they're going to choose to work around this very interesting situation with the caravan they have and how they're going to choose to spin it. Like whether they will work more for the kind of a passive side. Like, do you think this is an issue just based on the polls, especially in the areas of Arizona, Utah, Nevada, California, and New Mexico, like those surrounding states? Like, how do you think the Democrats would be best served to play this issue based on the polling of what you've seen?
Um, the best way I would probably say for Democrats to really talk about this is instead of having which many Democrats don't, but like a lot of Republicans bring up the idea that Democrats are anti strong border, that they're for weak
Open borders.
borders, like open border, basically. Yeah, I mean that's just like that's not even true. I mean that's like false for many cases. I mean I don't think that I've never even heard Nancy Pelosi say we shouldn't have borders. She even said that we should be hiring more border guards. So when they say that, I mean it's not true. I think what Democrats should be doing is probably going off the idea to just hire more guards because I don't even think the wall should be built. It's not going to be built. It's a lot of money. First off, it's the building wise is going to be a lot, and the maintaining of
Yeah,
that wall is going to be a lot because hurricanes happen, floods happen, water could really break through anything, and I don't really think that wall is going to be 100% like waterproof, is literally impossible. You can't make a wall that is 100% waterproof but it could last for a long time, but it's not going to last forever. It's going to probably the Maxwell
mm.
life that I've seen is around 75 to 100 years, which then maintaining that well after a big flood, that's going to be a lot more money than
I doubt
getting
there's
what we
going to be
get.
much of a flood though, like in the desert or the
Yeah,
border though. But yeah, I do get what you're saying. There definitely could be some other weather conditions, probably maybe some kind of vandalism. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, but it
right.
just seems like it's so much money for such a like relatively small problem of immigration. Of what it's been so much
Yeah, it's
overblown,
just a
but
lot
we
of money
still
for the
have
something.
just the problem is we still have like more people actually leaving the United States for that entry than coming in, at least of a few years ago. So it's a kind of a really kind of an obsolete problem. All right, what I want to do now is move on. And where else do anywhere in the Midwest or that you find interesting? Something worth pointing out for us today that we missed in the last time.
Yeah, the Iowa gubernatorial race that is also looking very interesting as well to watch. I was looking at that actually yesterday. Um, that might be a really good opportunity for a Democrat to pick up. Kate Reynolds, who is the incumbent, who was the lieutenant governor. The incumbent governor, he had resigned. I think that Trump put him on the religious freedom, appointee for religious freedom, if I'm correct. Or I remember Trump appointed him for some high official duty in his administration. And then Kim Reynolds was the lieutenant governor. She got pushed up to the governorship. And she has a relatively moderate approval rating. Her approval rating isn't amazing. It was in the low 50s when I last checked, which is pretty good. But I mean, for her, prior incumbent, he had a roughly like 67% approval rating. So I mean, the drop of 15%, that's pretty a lot of approval rating drop. The Democrat who's running though he's very centrist. He's very moderate. He believes in really just bipartisanship. He's pro farmer. He's against the tariffs that Trump is putting on. I mean, it's hurting Iowans. I mean, a lot of their farmers there are soybean farmers, which is also big in Missouri and North Dakota. They're also getting hit badly by the tariffs that are being put from China onto the American goods. Iowa's really dependent on their agriculture and some of their wind energy as well. They also depend highly on. And that's the other factor that a lot of Iowans are upset about. Kim Reynolds is for wind energy, but she was agreeing with the fact of Trump leaving the Paris Climate Accord. And she's also agreeing with the fact of giving tax, like if you give tax subsidies to people who have solar and people who use or buy wind power, then we should give subsidies to everyone else, even people who use natural gas, which that is not, in my opinion, even though it doesn't emit a lot of emissions, we have to frack that gas. And fracking is not very good for the earth. It contaminates water supply, which everyone denies, but it's true. You can even watch, there's a documentary I watched, it's called Gasland, where this guy goes around the Midwest in areas where
Looks like we had James
Kansas, he went to states that are very big in fracking. He went to states that are very big in fracking, and he literally just showed the fact of how a lot of people's water are literally catching on fire because of little gas leaking into their water supply, which is groundwater.
Yeah, I've seen that, like some of that. It's really some crazy clips. It's like he just like you turn the water on, you put a lighter next to the water, and just goes like boom. And it was like some pretty good instant YouTube clips. But the thing is, like, it could be very tough because Kim Reynolds certainly seems to be kind of a moderate, but
yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's dipping her toes in like both environmentally friendly stuff and agreeing with Donald Trump, who is the furthest possible thing from environmentally friendly you could possibly imagine. But there is also a very interesting thing going in Iowa. Steve King and J.D. Schulten in, I believe, Iowa's 1st District. Well, that's gotten a lot of coverage recently. What do you see happening there?
That district, I was also looking at that one as well. That one is getting a lot of attention. That one's also a pretty good race as well to watch. That's going to be a toss-up. It's pretty much similar to also, I think it's Kansas 3rd District, if I'm correct, where Democrat is actually. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, but there's a similar race in Kansas that's also like this. The one in Iowa that I was looking at, this one that we're talking about right now. This one is going to be very interesting to watch. This is really a good opportunity for a Democrat to pick up a seat where a Republican incumbent is in there. He's been there for a bit of time. He doesn't really have a ginormously favorable rating. He hasn't really, done across the aisle work. He's mostly just like, partisan voter, which is what actually, according to a poll that I saw that was by Trafalgar Group, showed that a lot of people there don't really like the partisanship that's going on right now in Washington. So with him voting with Trump, literally 98% of the time, that's hurting him. He thinks that it's helping him because I also watched a lot of his commercial ads saying that he's like 100% for Trump and that he wants, everything good for Iowa, and he thinks that Trump's going to be everything good for their congressional district. But a lot of the people in the congressional district, even Republicans, I mean, the Republicans there were quite moderate. A lot of the Republicans there are actually farmers, and they're actually getting very upset with the tariff problems with them losing business, and also a lot of them the tariffs are also causing higher costs for them because as well as the business is lower, but the seeds now for soybeans have also increased quite dramatically, which is just hurting business for them.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough for them in this situation, and still things don't really seem to have gotten better in this front. No. Yeah, is there anything else? What's our next big state that we need to go to?
Probably the next state I would probably head over to Texas gubernatorial election. That was looking like a really good pickup for Democrats, but now it seems like the incumbent is starting to go up the flight of stairs, for us to say. He's really starting to gain ground in that state, it seems like. And even other Texas 23rd, Will Hurd, his district, for example, that really was a toss-up, almost 4 months ago. But now looking at our most recent poll, he was up literally 7% over his competitor. That district is only R+1, according to Cook PVI rating. That district voted for Trump by 0.6%. It voted for McCain in 2012 by literally 12%. The amount of drastic change that district has had over the years is huge. It's not even gradual. It's huge. Looking at that race, I